Here's a quick and easy follow-to guide for the MC Clubhouse and the businesses attached to them that I don't even know if I can say the name of, so we're going to have to abbreviate later in the video when we get to those businesses. But I'm not going to waste any more of your time, so let's get started. The main question you always want to know when you're purchasing a property or a business is it worth it? Overall answer to these businesses is yes, they are worth it. But of course, there's other questions that have to go into that. I personally would not recommend them to be your first set of businesses in the game or first properties. I would also recommend that you already are established in the game. Like you can have KO Perico, you can do it anytime. The agency contract, you can do it anytime. You want to be able to purchase these properties and their upgrades all at once, or else they won't really benefit you that much. And as a solo player like myself, I will say that they're okay. They're not great because they can be very tedious as a solo player, but if you have 2 or more players to help you out, some of the best businesses in the game if you can run them efficiently. So the first thing we're going to cover is the MC Clubhouse, since that is the gateway to getting the other businesses I will be talking about. It's pretty easy to get this. You have to go onto your phone, internet, and the first thing right here, Maze Bank foreclosure. Enter site, and you can filter it by clubhouses. And in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what clubhouse you can buy. If you prefer ones in the city, buy the city. If you prefer Polito Bay, which almost every property in the game exists up there, except for like CEO stuff, buy it up there. Or if you're tight on money, you can buy the cheapest one, which is the Great Chaparral Clubhouse. And when you do purchase one, you have many customizations that can go along with it. The mural is kind of your choice. The style is kind of your choice. Club emblem, obviously your choice. Club name. Gun locker. This doesn't really matter too much because if you have another property that already has a gun locker, this doesn't matter. So to save you some money, I would recommend not getting this. But if you want it, just to max out the property, go right ahead. And then you have the custom bike shop. Now for 530k, you'll get your money back pretty quickly. So I would recommend actually getting this if you want to. You don't have to, but I'll be covering it in a second. And for the clubhouse, there is 3 main money-making methods. The first one we have is the bartender. And this works pretty similar to like the nightclub safe where you have to resupply it or, gain up your popularity. And at the top left, you see resupply bar. That's all you have to do. And once you do that, it will tell you to go collect these supplies. I believe every time you do this, it's going to be a van, and sometimes it can spawn really close to you. Other times, like I got right now, it's pretty far away. Now, once you have the van, the game will tell you that it is fragile. And at the bottom right, there's a supply bar. So as long as you don't crash, you're going to get the max supplies you can get. But if you crash more and more, you're obviously not going to get as many supplies. But once you deliver the supplies, you're going to see on your map, there is a money sign. After a while, maybe a couple of hours, there's going to be a money bag that spawns right about here. And I think it'll give you around like 20,000. So every couple of hours, just to make sure, come to your MC Clubhouse, resupply the bar, and you'll earn some extra money. We also have these contracts over here. Now, in my honest opinion, these are not good. They give you very little amount of money. They take a long time to complete. Sometimes you need upwards of 2 players to do some of them. And if you want to know more about them, I do have a video of ranking all the different contracts in the game, and I briefly cover each MC Clubhouse contract. So if you're interested, you can go click on that video, but honestly, just stay away from these. They're not great sources of income. And then the last money-making method, of course, is the bike auto shop here. I actually got the Shinobi. This is a crazy bike. And all you do is it says modify the customer's bike. This is similar to how the auto shop works, if you're familiar with that, where you just customize the customer's vehicle, do all the different mods they want, and then have either your technician deliver it or yourself deliver it. Unfortunately, you can't have your technician deliver this, so every single time if you want to deliver one of these, you have to deliver it yourself, but you do earn $40,000 per bike. So in combination with the bar resupply, this, and maybe the MC contracts if you want to get spicy with it, you can bounce between them and get a pretty good amount of money. But of course, you came here for the big businesses, the ones that'll make you the most amount of money, and that are the ones we're moving on to right now. Moving back inside the MC Clubhouse, you're going to have to locate the computer inside of here. Pretty easy to find. Every clubhouse is the exact same layout. And once you find it, this is where all the magic's going to happen, where you buy all of the other businesses. And once you enter the screen, you're going to see on the left all the different categories. And for the sake of the video, these are going to be the names of them that they're going to go by. You have document, green stuff, cash, crystal, and powder. And it already has it laid out for you for the least profit to the most profit. And once you go to purchase one, you're going to see that there is going to be 4 separate properties you can buy. Of course, I already have one, but this one is still here. And the location doesn't necessarily matter all too much, because no matter which one you buy, you're going to have to sell to the opposite side of the map. And for a visual representation, I'm going to do the powder lockup for all of its different locations. So, if you buy Alamo Sea being the cheapest one, you have to sell to Los Santos. Pretty simple. You buy Paleto Bay, you're gonna have to sell to Los Santos. So you'd be kind of confused as to why you'd buy Paleto Bay over the cheapest one, because it's just further. I did mention earlier in the video, you can buy pretty much every property in the game up here. Oh, if you were to buy Elysian Island, which is about down here, again, you have to sell to Sandy Shores, and then Morningwood, you have to sell to Sandy Shores. It kind of is all up to you, whatever your preference is. If you want to have one closer to you in the city, go for it. You can buy the more expensive ones. I'd probably prefer Morningwood since it's closer than Elysian Island. But then if you're tight on money, buy the cheapest one. If you want all of them in the game together, buy Paleto Bay. They all have their own perks in a way. And while I drive over to one of my businesses, I'll be showing on screen the prices of each different business and their properties from their minimum to their maximum with full upgrades. Now, entering any business, you're going to see at the bottom right of your screen 3 things. The value, which of course is the amount of stock you have and its value. The product, which is how much stock you actually have inside of your business. And then your supplies, which of course goes over to your product producing it. Now, for each business, the supplies do generate at a different pace. So for the document forgery, 1 bar of supplies is going to take the longest, while the powder lockup is going to be the fastest. More on that a little later, but for each business, you're going to have to locate the computer inside of here, because this is where all of the business happens and all of the magic happens and all that good stuff. And when you first enter the computer, it's going to tell you to set up the business. All this has you do is go get a car and bring it back, and that's it. It's not a hard thing to do. I can't really show it because I don't know how to. You guys can figure it out, plain and simple. But then finally, you're going to notice 2 things. The resupply. Stealing supplies is not a great thing to do. It'll take you a lot of time to do, and you're better off just buying supplies. Now, it'll cost you anywhere from 15,000 to 75,000, 15 for each bar of supplies, and most of the time you're going to be empty supplies, so it's going to cost you 75,000. Before you think about buying supplies, you're going to have some of the upgrades here. The equipment and staff upgrade are almost required if you want to make profit off of buying supplies and just the business in general. And then the security upgrade here is exactly what it does. It will reduce the likelihood of being raided by the cops or attacked by enemies. It doesn't completely prevent any raids or anything, but again, it does prevent them. And if you're tight on money, you don't even need to buy the security upgrade, because as long as you're not registered as an MC president roaming around in the city, you're perfectly fine. Just make sure you only register inside of a property and disband inside of a property. Now let's talk about how many batches of supplies each property needs. 1 batch being $75,000 worth of supplies if you're completely empty on them. So the powder lockup is going to be 3 batches bought and 2 3/5 used. The crystal is going to be 3 batches bought and 2 2/5 used. The cash is going to be 2 batches bought and 2 used. The green stuff is going to be 2 batches bought and 1 3/5 used. And then finally, the document is going to be 2 batches bought and 1 1/5 used. Now we have the time it takes to fill up each business from 0 product to maximum product. And this is going to be approximations. Powder lockup will take 4 hours and 33 minutes. Crystal will take 5 hours and 12 minutes. Cash will take 4 hours and 40 minutes. Green stuff will take 4 hours and 8 minutes. And then finally, document will take 2 hours and 36 minutes. But of course, when you're selling any business, there is also a difference between solo selling and co-op selling. Whenever you're solo, of course, it's going to be harder to do and longer to do, but you're going to be given 15 extra minutes. So 45 minutes for each sell, whereas co-op, you're going to only have 30 minutes for each sell. And when you're doing any of those sell missions, there is 7 different types of vehicles you can get. You can get one truck or a burrito van. You can get garbage trucks, vans, motorcycles, planes, helicopters, and boats. And on screen, I'm highlighting them. Green ones being the ones that will take you the least time, and I would recommend just doing them if you get them. Yellow being like, it'll take you much longer, but it's up to you if you want to do them or not. And then red being, you should just avoid these. If you get them, I would recommend session hopping or doing a method that I mentioned later to prevent them from spawning. And if you're also selling in a public lobby, there is a different bonus you can get. Per player, you can get a 2.5% bonus going all the way up to 50%. So each business can give you a lot more money selling if you do it in a public session full of players, but of course there's a downside to that. The players can grief you. So do this at your own risk. And now on screen, these are going to be the different profit margins you're going to be getting per business, being in private sessions and public sessions for the bonus and non-bonus. And I'm also accounting for the money spent for the different supplies, just so it makes a lot more sense to you guys how much profit you're going to be making. Now, already towards the end of the video, that went pretty fast, but every business I have pretty much covered of how they work, how the different sell missions can affect you, different profit margins. But now I wanted to save the extra tips for the end in case you guys get serious about these businesses and want to know other different ways you can use them to get more money and just ways that you can do to make it easier for yourself. First up, let's talk about the master terminal. This is a thing only in the arcade. You can use this to run every single one of your properties as well. So instead of going to each one resupplying, you can go into your master terminal and resupply every single one of them in one go. This will cost you anywhere from like 2.5 million to probably somewhere around like $7 million because you have to buy an arcade, and then the master terminal is about 1.4 million on top of that. Now, earlier I mentioned if you're an MC president outside in free roam, you're going to get raided. Now, these are not hard to do. If you have to defend one of your businesses, just make sure you do not die while doing it, or else you will lose all of your product and you'll have to restart the businesses. I'm not sure if that only applies to the cops raiding you, or if it also applies to like the O'Neill brothers also raiding you, because that can happen as well. But the nightclub also has a feature where you can use the technicians in there to build up stock if you have other businesses tied to it. Now, the South American imports is the powder lockup, the pharmaceutical research is the crystal factory, the organic produce is the green factory, the printing and copying is the document forgery, and the cash creation is the counterfeit cash. So you do need every single one of these businesses to be able to maximize the nightclub. But if you're wondering which ones to stay away from, don't get printing and copying, so don't get a document forgery, or don't get cash creation either. Of course, you can get them and sell them yourself, but if you want them for the nightclub, don't get those two. They're not worth it in terms of producing product. And then they stash houses around the map. Every single day you can go to one of these. You're gonna have to take out a bunch of guys, look for a code, and enter it into a safe. Once you steal it and exit, it'll resupply one of your businesses. Now, this isn't always guaranteed to be an MC business. You can also resupply the bunker this way. But if you do this every single day, it could save you upwards of $75,000. So in my opinion, I would recommend doing these every day if you want to try and save some money. Now let's talk about how you can change the sell missions if you get ones that are bad. Now, to prevent bad vehicles from spawning, you can use like an MOC or something, or just a very large vehicle, and put it in the way of the spawning locations. Now, I don't exactly know the locations for each business where stuff spawns, but kind of just put the vehicles in front of the business, like outside, like I'm doing, and it should prevent bad vehicles from spawning, like the vans and the garbage trucks. And then there's another way, is session hopping. I mentioned this earlier. If you get something that is bad, you can go to another session and make sure to change your spawn location to last location, and when you sell again, it'll be different. Now, you will lose like 1/6 of your product if you do this, so just be warned, you're not going to make as much profit if you do session hopping, but again, it'll save you a lot of time if you get a better sell mission than a longer one. So up to you if you want to use that method as well. Now, that has been this complete MC business guide. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section and I'll probably make a pinned comment about it. But I think I covered just about everything you need to know about them. They're not hard businesses to run at all. All you do is just resupply them, wait until they're fully finished, and then sell them. It's really not that hard. It's probably the easiest businesses in the game to be able to run. And if you can use them correctly, they are some of the best in the game because they can earn you upwards of $2 million profit. Actually, maybe even more than that, depending if you do public sessions or not. And if they're double money, they make you a shit ton more money as well. But that has been the video. If you enjoyed this guide, let me know by maybe leaving a like and subscribing. And if there's a specific guide you want to see next, let me know as well. And that is pretty much it. So I hope you guys all stay safe out there. Have an amazing rest of your day when you're watching this. And peace out, everybody. See you in the next video.